Alright, so in this video I wanted to share with you a really quick animation trick that you can do inside of Photoshop to create kind of a spherical animation. In this case, what we're going to do is make this atlas or map of the Earth appear as though it's spinning around a globe. We're going to give it a circular motion around the globe, all right within inside Photoshop. And it has to do with kind of making an image travel through a filter. And that'll make sense here in just a minute. So here I have an image. It's a long kind of a widescreen of the entire planet Earth. It's basically taken and rolled out flat into a two-dimensional image. And what we're going to do is basically wrap it around a spherical object. Now, we're not going to literally wrap it around a 3D object or anything like that. We're going to kind of trick Photoshop into doing this for us. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go into the file and create a new document. And I'm going to create a perfectly square document. I'm going to do a 5 by 5 inch at 100 dpi or ppi or whichever. So we have a perfectly square document. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and create a new blank layer. And I'm going to go ahead and convert this blank layer into a smart object. So we'll hold down my control or right click directly on the layer. And we'll get this menu and we'll choose convert to smart object. So now I'm going to double click the smart object icon and open up that smart object file. As you can see, it's tagged with the PSB. So there's our original file, and now we are inside the smart object. So now, within this smart object, I'm going to drag and drop this map image right into there. So if I Option Command and then minus key down, I can zoom the window out. I'm going to press Command or Control T to bring up the retransform so we can see that this image is considerably larger than our 5 by 5 image. So I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to hold down the Shift and the Option key. This would be Shift Alt on a PC, and scale it proportionately towards the center there, just till those top edges are right along top there, so we can get those lined up right along top and bottom. Doesn't have to be precise, but close enough. And then I'll press Enter. So now let's zoom back in this window and let's just expand this window out. Now what I need to do is bring up my animation panel. And here we have this. What I'm going to do is if I move this back and forth, you can see it's still going beyond our edges on the sides, which is fine. What I'm going to do is drag this over until it snaps to this edge right here. Boom, just like that. I'm going to go over here into the animation panel, twirl down the layer 2, which is the map image, as you can see right here in the layers panel. Make sure that your playhead is at the very beginning of the timeline, and then we're going to go right here next to the position icon and then click on that stopwatch to place a keyframe. Then I'm going to take the playhead and move it all the way to the end of my timeline. And right now this is set for 10 seconds long by default. But if you wanted to change the duration, you can simply go into the flyout menu here and go to Document Settings, and here's where you can change the duration of your clip. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 10 seconds now. With my playhead at the very end there, I'm going to take this image and just move it across the document to the other side until the other side snaps to the side right here. And after doing that, you can notice it has dropped a keyframe at the very end of my timeline. So if I go back to the beginning here, you can see it scrubs back and forth and moves back and forth in my window. So I'm done inside the smart object, so I'm going to go ahead and close this window and let's save the changes. And it will bring us back to our original document right inside here. Again, if I take the playhead inside this one, this file will animate through. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the filter menu, go to Distort, and go to Spherize. Now, because this layer is a smart object, it's going to apply it as a smart filter. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the amount to 100%, and we're just going to push this all the way up, leave it to normal, and click OK. Now, you can see that it has spherized that image. But because the animation is nested inside the smart object, the smart filter will only affect the image where it's visible in the window. So if I take my playhead and drag it through, you can see that the image is now coming into the side here, and when it gets into the filter area, it's distorting it, giving the appearance of it wrapping around a rounded object or a spherical object. Now, of course, we can still see what's going on out here beyond the areas of the sphere, and we're simply going to take care of that with a simple layer mask. So I'm going to take my elliptical marquee tool here. I'm just going to hold the Shift key down, starting at the upper left corner here, and just draw a selection out right about there, and I'll just kind of position it. It doesn't have to be precise. In fact, if it's closer in a little bit, it's probably all the better, so you don't get any of those extra areas in there. So with that layer selected, let's just click the layer mask icon, and boom, there we have it. The Earth spinning right there on the background. So what I want to do now is maybe drop this onto a space background. So here I have Starfield background that I'm going to drop this in. But here's the thing. This filter is applied to this particular layer as a smart filter. Now if I drag and drop this in there, it's going to change the way it affects this layer if I drag it and drop it into a document of a different size. So here's what I need to do. I need to nest this entire layer inside of its own smart object so it doesn't get affected. So that's simply a matter of just right-clicking or control-clicking on it and then going to convert to smart object. So now it's basically taking all the effects that are applied to that smart object and containing them within another smart object, which gives us the freedom to do anything we want with this smart object. So I'm just going to take my move tool here, drag and drop it into my space background, and maybe I want to scale it down a little bit, perhaps even rotate it. And if I bring up my animation, you can see that the Earth is spinning in space. And we did it all right there inside Photoshop. So gives you a quick idea of how you can make animations pass through filters to achieve very interesting effects, all within Photoshop. So there you have it. Have fun with it.